He thought I didn't understand the business side. I built the entire business. I came home from a client meeting on a Thursday afternoon and found the office empty. Not just empty of people, empty of everything. The desk we'd shared for 6 years, the filing cabinets, the whiteboard covered in our project timelines, even the coffee maker, all gone. Boxes were stacked by the door. My boxes, my name on them in his handwriting. Derek had left a note on top. His writing was neat, almost cheerful. Isabel, I've moved the business to a new location. It's better for growth. I've packed your personal items. The locks have been changed. We'll discuss the transition next week. Focus on finding your next opportunity. My next opportunity, like I was an intern he was letting go, not his wife of 8 years, not his business partner who'd landed 90% of our clients. I called him immediately. It went straight to voicemail. I called the business line. Disconnected. I sat on the floor of our empty office, surrounded by boxes of my things, and tried to understand what was happening. We were Hartwell Consulting, Derek and I. We'd started it 4 years ago, combining his background in operations with my expertise in digital transformation. I did the client work, he handled back-end logistics. It worked because we each had our lane, or so I thought. My phone buzzed. A text from Derek. Don't call me again today. I'm with clients. Our clients. We can meet Monday to discuss your buyout. Our clients. He was already claiming them. I opened my laptop, logged into our shared business accounts. Access denied. Every single one. Email, client database, accounting software, file storage. He'd locked me out of everything. My hands were shaking. I called our biggest client, Meridian Tech. I'd worked with their CEO, Patricia, for 3 years. Transformed their entire digital infrastructure. She'd sent me a fruit basket last Christmas with a note that said, "You saved our company." Her assistant answered, "I'm sorry, Miss Hartwell. Patricia's in a meeting with Derek. Can I take a message?" "Derek's there now?" "Yes, they're discussing the transition to his new firm." I hung up. Called our second biggest client, Forge Industries. Same story. Derek was there yesterday, discussing transition plans. My transition out. He'd been planning this for weeks, maybe months, meeting with every client individually, positioning himself as the real talent, setting up a new company, timing it perfectly so I'd be blindsided. I should have seen it coming. The late meetings he said were with vendors, the password changes he claimed were for security, the way he'd started introducing us as Derek Hartwell and his team instead of Hartwell Consulting. I'd ignored it because I trusted him, because he was my husband. Because I'm apparently an idiot, I drove home. Derek wasn't there. His closet was half empty, clothes gone, some of his things missing from the bathroom. He'd been moving out gradually too, planning his exit from our marriage the same way he planned his exit from our partnership. Methodical, calculated, complete. I called my sister. "Rachel, Derek's stealing the business." She was at my house in 20 minutes, found me on the couch, staring at nothing. "Tell me everything." I did. All of it. The empty office, the locked accounts, the client meetings, the note. Rachel listened, her face getting harder with each detail. She was a corporate lawyer. Not family law, not business litigation, but she knew people. "Do you have any documentation, contracts, agreements, anything that establishes your role?" "It's all in the files he took." "Backups?" I thought about it. "Maybe. I keep copies of important documents on my personal drive." I opened my laptop. Logged into my personal cloud storage. There they were. Years of files, client agreements, project documentation, and something else I'd almost forgotten about. The loyalty clauses. When we first started Hartwell Consulting, I'd been paranoid about clients leaving. I'd insisted every contract include a primary consultant designation. The clause specified that the client was contracting with a specific consultant by name, and if that consultant left the firm, the client had the option to follow or renegotiate. Derek had thought it was unnecessary. "We're a team," he'd said. "No one's leaving." I'd insisted anyway, told him it was industry standard. He'd signed off on it because he didn't think it mattered. Every single contract had my name, Isabel Hartwell, primary consultant, because I was the one doing the work. I was the one in the meetings, building the strategies, implementing the solutions. Derek supported me, but I was the face of the business. The contracts proved it. Rachel leaned over my shoulder, reading. "This is gold. Do you have signatures?" Every client signed. It's in their onboarding paperwork. Then he can't just take them. These agreements are legally binding. If he's claiming these clients without their explicit consent to transfer to him specifically, he's in breach. I stared at the screen. Can we enforce this? We can do better than enforce it. We can make it very loud. The next day, Derek texted me about a meeting, Monday, 10 a.m. at a coffee shop downtown, neutral territory. I agreed. Spent the weekend with Rachel, going through every contract, every agreement, building a case. Monday morning, I arrived at the coffee shop early. Derek showed up exactly on time, looking confident, relaxed. He was wearing a new suit, expensive, probably bought with business funds. "Isabel, thanks for meeting." He didn't hug me, barely looked at me. We sat. He ordered an espresso, I ordered nothing. "I know this is hard," he started, "but it's what's best for everyone. The business has outgrown the original partnership structure. I'm offering you a fair buyout, $25,000. I'd built a company worth at least $500,000 in annual revenue. He was offering me $25,000. That's your offer? It's generous considering you'll need to rebuild from scratch. I'm keeping the client relationships, the brand, everything we built. You can start fresh. It's actually an opportunity. The audacity. The absolute audacity. And if I don't accept?" He sighed, like I was being difficult. "Then I'll buy you out through legal channels. It'll be messier and you'll get less. I'm trying to make this easy." Easy for who? For both of us. Isabel, be realistic. The clients work with me. They trust me. You can't compete with that. I wanted to throw my water in his face. Instead, I smiled. "I need to think about it. Don't think too long. I'm launching the new firm officially next Friday. Big event. All the clients will be there. After that, the offer drops to $15,000. He stood up, left cash on the table for his espresso, walked out like he'd just closed a successful negotiation. I sat there for another 5 minutes, processing. Then I called Rachel. "He's hosting a launch event, Friday, all the clients." "Perfect," she said. "That gives us 4 days." We moved fast. Rachel connected me with Martin Torres, a business litigation attorney who specialized in partnership disputes. We met that afternoon. I showed him everything, the contracts, the loyalty clauses, the timeline of Derek's takeover. Martin read through it all carefully. Then he smiled. It wasn't a nice smile. "This is one of the clearest cases I've seen. Your husband essentially stole a client list he had no legal right to. Every one of these contracts specifies you as primary consultant. The clients haven't consented to work with him independently. He's building a business on stolen relationships. Can we stop him? We can do more than stop him. We can make sure every client knows exactly what he did." Martin drafted letters, legal, formal, but crystal clear. Each letter went to a specific client, outlining their existing agreement with me, the loyalty clause they'd signed, and the fact that Derek's new firm had no legal claim to their business. The letters politely informed them that any work conducted with Derek's new company would be considered a breach of their existing contract with me, unless they formally terminated and renegotiated. We sent them on Thursday. Overnight delivery. Every single client would receive their letter Friday morning. The same day as Derek's big launch event, Martin had also filed an injunction. Derek would be served at the event. We coordinated the timing precisely. The letters would arrive at 9 a.m., Derek's event started at noon, the injunction would be served at 12:30. I wasn't invited to the launch event, obviously, but Rachel insisted I should be nearby. "You need to see this," she said. So Friday at noon, I was sitting in a cafe across the street from the venue Derek had rented. A nice hotel ballroom downtown. Through the window, I could see people arriving, clients I'd worked with for years. Patricia from Meridian Tech, James from Forge Industries. About 30 people total, all of them dressed professionally, all of them there to celebrate Derek's new beginning. My phone rang. "Martin, the letters were delivered. I've already gotten 5 calls from clients asking for clarification. They're confused about the legal situation." "What did you tell them?" "The truth, that Derek moved forward without securing the proper releases, that their contracts are still with you, that they need to make a choice. And 3 of them are already at the event. They're not happy." I watched through the window as Derek took the small stage they'd set up. He was smiling, confident, ready to give his pitch. I couldn't hear him from across the street, but I could see him talking, gesturing, building to something. Then I saw Patricia stand up. She said something. Derek's smile faltered. James stood up next. Then someone else. Then someone else. Within 30 seconds, half the room was on their feet. Not applauding. Leaving. They walked out in groups. Some were clearly angry, talking to each other in intense conversations. Others looked confused but followed the crowd. Derek was frozen on the stage, watching his launch event collapse in real time. My phone buzzed. A text from Patricia. "Just got your lawyer's letter. Derek told us you'd agreed to step away. He lied. We're terminating with him immediately. Call me Monday. We need to discuss next steps." Then James. "Isabel, what the hell is going on? Derek said this was amicable. I just got served with a legal notice saying we're in breach if we work with him. I need answers." Then 5 more clients, all saying variations of the same thing. They felt deceived. They wanted to work with me, not Derek. They hadn't agreed to any transition. Through the window, I watched Derek step off the stage. The ballroom was almost empty now. Hotel staff were standing around awkwardly. The catering sat untouched. Then I saw a man in a suit approach Derek, the process server. He handed Derek an envelope. Derek opened it, read the first page, and his face went white. The injunction. Temporary restraining order preventing him from soliciting any clients from our shared business pending litigation. Martin had moved fast. Rachel appeared next to me at the cafe window. "How does it feel?" I thought about it. Surreal. Good surreal or bad surreal? I don't know yet. But watching Derek stand alone in that empty ballroom, holding legal papers that destroyed his plan, I started to feel something. Not quite satisfaction, not quite vindication. Something quieter, like I'd just taken back something that was always mine. The next week was chaos. Derek tried to fight the injunction. His lawyer argued that the loyalty clauses were unenforceable, that I was being vindictive, that we needed to settle this privately. Martin shot down every argument. The clauses were standard. The clients had signed them. Derek had violated them by assuming he could transfer the relationships without consent. Judge Williams reviewed everything and made the injunction permanent pending full litigation. Derek was prohibited from contacting any client from our shared business for 6 months. The clients made their choices quickly. 28 of our 30 clients chose to continue working with me. They'd received the legal letters, understood what Derek had tried to do, and decided they didn't want to work with someone who'd deceived them. 2 clients chose to work with neither of us. They were uncomfortable with the drama and hired a different firm. I couldn't blame them. I started my own company, Hartwell Solutions. Just my name, my work, my reputation. I found a small office downtown. Nothing fancy, but mine. Set up new systems, new accounts, everything Derek couldn't touch. The business transition was smoother than expected because the clients wanted to continue. They'd been working with me all along anyway. Derek had just been the name on the paperwork. The divorce was messier. He tried to claim I'd sabotaged his livelihood. My lawyer pointed out he'd tried to steal mine first. He tried to claim emotional distress. The judge was not sympathetic. We settled after 4 months. I kept the house because I could prove I'd been paying the mortgage from my personal accounts. He kept his car and his new apartment lease. We split our savings. No alimony either way. Clean break. The business assets were more complicated. Derek argued he deserved half the value of Hartwell Consulting. Martin argued that Hartwell Consulting no longer existed. Derek had dismantled it when he moved everything out. What remained was my client list, which he'd tried to steal, and my reputation, which he couldn't take. The judge agreed. Derek got nothing from the business. 6 months after the launch event disaster, I was sitting in my new office reviewing a proposal for Patricia's company. She'd expanded our contract, wanted me to consult on a complete organizational restructure. It was the biggest project I'd ever taken on. My assistant knocked on the door. "Someone here to see you. He doesn't have an appointment." "Who?" "Derek Hartwell." I hadn't seen him since the settlement. Hadn't wanted to. But curiosity won. 5 minutes. He looked different. Thinner. Tired. The confidence was gone. He sat across from my desk. Didn't quite meet my eyes. I wanted to apologize. I waited. I thought I was the reason for our success. I thought the clients would follow me because I was the businessman, the operations guy. I was wrong. You were always the talent. I just managed to convince myself otherwise. Why are you telling me this? Because I'm trying to start over. New clients, different market. It's hard. Really hard, and I finally understand what I threw away. I thought about everything he'd taken from me, the office, the accounts, the betrayal, the assumption that I was expendable. "Do you want me to forgive you?" He looked up. "Would you?" I considered it. "I don't think so. Not yet. Maybe not ever, but I appreciate you saying it." He nodded, stood to leave. At the door, he turned back. "The loyalty clauses. That was smart. I should have paid attention." "You should have paid attention to a lot of things." After he left, I sat at my desk for a long time. Rachel texted me, "Heard Derek showed up. You okay?" I texted back, "Yeah, actually, I am." And I was. The business was growing. I'd hired 2 junior consultants. We'd just landed a contract with a Fortune 500 company that found me through Patricia's referral. I was building something real, something mine, something Derek couldn't take because I'd protected it from the start with clauses he'd thought didn't matter. Those loyalty agreements had saved me. Not because they were aggressive or punitive, because they recognized a simple truth. The clients were always mine. I'd earned them, built those relationships, delivered results. The contracts just made it official. Derek had assumed he could take credit for my work because his name was on the door, but the clients knew better. When they had to choose, they chose the person who'd actually helped them. A year after everything fell apart, I was having dinner with Rachel at the same restaurant where Derek and I used to celebrate closed deals. She raised her glass. To new beginnings. I clinked mine against hers. To reading the fine print. She laughed. Derek never did. No, he never did. I thought about him standing in that empty ballroom, watching everything he'd planned fall apart. Not because I'd destroyed him, because I'd built something solid enough that it couldn't be stolen. Because when you do the real work, people know. And when someone tries to take credit for your work, the truth has a way of coming out. Especially when you've documented it in legally binding contracts that everyone signed but only you read carefully. He thought I didn't understand the business side, but I'd understood it better than he ever did. I'd understood that in consulting, the business isn't the brand or the office or the fancy letterhead. The business is trust, and you can't steal that. You can only earn it. I earned it. He tried to take it. And when the clients had to choose, they chose the person who'd actually been showing up for them all along. That was the moment Derek realized he'd never been the essential one. I'd known it from the start. That's why I'd put my name in every contract. Not because I was paranoid, because I understood exactly what I'd built, and I wasn't going to let anyone take it. Not even my husband. Especially not my husband.
You've just stepped into her revenge side, where every wound finds its justice, and every silence ends with truth. If her story struck a chord, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Your support keeps these stories alive. Another secret waits in the next video. See how her revenge begins.